All right, today's forum is going to be an open forum for sales questions or anything you may be running into when making your sales calls, attempting to close a sale, or even get a prospect in. Uh, Francis, I'm a mute you. If when you're ready to talk, just click unmute on the microphone button on the top of your screen. That way we don't get any background noise, and that's the basic etiquette on here. If you're not talking, mute. Otherwise, you'll pop up on the screen, and even the smallest little thing, man, the air conditioner clicking on. These microphones are so sensitive, they'll pick up just about anything. One of the things to know about the debt collection industry is that over the last couple of decades, the commercial collection tactics used by commercial collections firms have become progressively less effective. The actual yields of collected accounts are at an all-time low industry-wide. This is something that is happening because everyone who's out there reinventing the wheel has gotten away from the basic principles of collections. For us, we still use the same old school low-tech approach, which means face-to-face visits. We use our lawyers, stuff like that, and it's one of the things that makes us more effective as an agency. What I'd like to do is start off by just opening the floor for questions, and we'll get them answered. I've got some chat messages here. Let's see. Okay. Let's go ahead and open up the floor, and I'm ready to start answering questions. Whatever you guys have, ask away. Of course, one at a time, please, and maybe Reiner, maybe you want to open up with something to get us started, and we'll take it from there.
Okay. I think that one of the important things right now, especially being vacation time, but Rick and I chatted last night for a little bit. It's ultimately very important when you make your call that you take extremely good notes. Because if you don't take good notes, and let's say you call a company and you speak to the secretary, and the secretary can be very helpful. She tells you that Loretta is the person in charge of the credit department, but she's out on vacation, which many people are right now. You want to put that in your notes that you talk to the secretary and ask her name, and be able to follow up and know exactly what took place. You talked to the secretary and she told you Loretta was the credit manager in charge and that they do all their collections in-house. That's good information to know. Otherwise, you call and you don't keep track of your notes. You're calling back and you're starting from square one when you lost some valuable information that you received from the secretary. And by all means, always compliment the secretary for helping you and thanking them. I like to, especially if they have a nice greeting. Some of them have a very nice greeting. They're enthused, excited. I compliment them. I'll say, man, you're the nicest sounding person today with the best greeting of all. And they'll say, oh, thank you. You know, I mean, it's not often that they get complimented. It's more often that, you know, some grumpy old farmer will call them, and not putting a pun on farmers. I mean, they're good people, but some grumpy old person will call them, Yeah, speak to Bob, please. I mean, come on. Have some fun while you're calling. I mean, you can brighten somebody's day and make somebody's day by giving them a friendly compliment.
Absolutely. And, you know, a point about that is a gatekeeper is always going to be more willing to help you when you call if you've been nice to that person, whether it's a receptionist, a secretary, an administrative assistant, whoever it is answering the phone. Um, it's it's definitely important. Reiner is absolutely on point there, and he mentioned prospects that say they collect all accounts in-house. In this situation, it may or may not be true. When you call, if typically, if we feel if for that person, whether it's a receptionist, a secretary, and administrative assistant, whoever it is, Hank, I think you got double play going on, man.
Yeah, I'm going to click off one there. Okay. I'll lose it.
All right. Oh, when you're dealing with a prospect that collects all accounts in-house, compliment them too. You know, let's say you're talking to the decision maker and they say, oh, well, we collect everything in-house. What I use is every successful credit manager that I do business with has a very good handle on their in-house receivables. It's fantastic that you're running a good in-house department, and what you want to do there is once you give them the compliment, ask them some qualifying questions to determine whether or not we can be of service, which of course, on average, how many 90-day plus accounts do you carry on your aging sheet? What are your write-offs each year? What are the approximate amount of accounts that are on your aging right now that have not paid according to the terms of the sale? And these things can help you determine whether or not we can be of service. And the point is, any company that's doing any volume of business on any type of open account terms, whether it's standard net terms or any other type of credit terms, they're going to have a certain percentage of those accounts become delinquent, and at some point some of them will become uncollectible. So it's a perfectly normal part of doing business, and some of these accounts can be procured by us, and we can either facilitate collection or at least determine the real reason that they're not getting paid. Let's see, Tricia, what are you running into so far, and what questions do you need answered? Okay, I'm not hearing you here. You unmuted the microphone, but it's not coming through. I could hear you before.
Maybe she could type it in on the side, Mike.
Yeah, yeah.
Get your
If you
mic
want.
set up.
All right.
Sure. Go ahead and type in your question, and I can forward it to Mike by
Well,
speaking it out loud.
well, I can check the chats on this end.
Okay. Okay.
I can go ahead and check it in a minute if she types it in. And
Okay.
okay, she's running into mostly voicemails. Yeah, she was telling me a little bit about this before. On voicemails, once you get comfortable with it, you can leave a message if you want to. On your ones that are larger companies that say they have no collections and the companies are paying on time, they're always going to have a certain percentage of their accounts receivable become past due. Okay, especially if they're a larger company. Typically, what you're going to run into with the guys who have a really good handle on their accounts receivable is somewhere between 0.1% and 0.25% being written off. Now, what that means for us, for a large company, if they do $1 billion in business per year, 0.1% of that is $1 million. 0.25% is $2.5 million. So obviously they're going to have some stuff that's uncollected, and you know, sometimes if we rebut that and go in the right way, they'll talk to us about it. Sometimes they won't. So, you know, the key thing to do in that situation where they're saying they have no collections and they're a sizable company, they do everything in-house, you know, I ask them the questions we just went over. How many 90-plus accounts would you carry on your aging sheet? What are your write-offs each year? And if a company that does even 10 million or 20 million in annual sales tells you they don't have any write-offs, they're not being completely honest.
Well, as the old saying goes, Mike, liars are buyers and buyers are liars.
Absolutely, absolutely. But the main thing in that is to see if you can actually get them to talk to you about it. Because if you can get them to engage you, you can give them your presentation, and you know, we can decide if we're going to collectively do business or not. Let's see, Trina, what do you have going on? What questions? What obstacles?
Hi, I have the same thing where people are saying they are generally happy with their clients. I've said this before. It's the same thing. I'm running into these happy people. Everyone pays on time. If they do run past due 30 days or whatever, they make a phone call and then it's resolved. I have people say they did it in-house. I did have someone that said they had a person that was 2 years delinquent, and he said he tried to find them, and it was in Hawaii, so that's why I'm about to say, you know, the person was on an island somewhere that they didn't know where this person was at, so I was calling Hawaii, that's why the island. And that's like, well, we could help you, and, you know, you would be able to get, you know, your money back. And he was like, forget it. And so I let that go. One guy said he threatens people's lives and then they pay, you know, it sounded like he was Tony Soprano or something. But generally, you know, they didn't have, I'll run to the gatekeeper who'll say, you know, she's the one that handles it. Then I speak to her. And then she says, well, you know, don't need anything or whatever, and I just make a mental note to maybe call that again down the line and try to contact the person in the contact field if there's a name. But I get these happy people. Everyone's paying. I get people who are being paid. That's what they say anyway.
Wow, man, that's impressive. I need to get a list of these places because I'm moving to one of them. It sounds like they're on a place called Perfection Island, and I'm tired of living in the real world, where there's obstacles, and I constantly have to take action to resolve things. I want to go to a place where everything's perfect, man. Can I go there? Yeah, some of these guys, if you use some of the stuff that's in our objections chapter, you'll be able to get past it. Some of them are still going to, have their claim to perfection. Some of them will come around once they learn that you're not buying it. In every sales call, somebody buys something. Either you buy their story or they buy your product. And we're not going to be able to get past all of them. It's very much a numbers game, but also a game of psychology. This is like a game of chess sometimes. You'll have to use strategies against your opponent. When you have a prospect like that, they are in every way an opponent until you reach a common ground. And if they're on the ones that are telling you they use somebody else and they're happy with them, a majority of the businesses that we contact are going to respond that they're already using a collection agency. And what we want to do at that point is congratulate them. That's what I always say, congratulate them. And here again, every successful credit manager I know uses an agency or two as an extension of their credit department. I anticipated this when I called you. I already knew you were a successful credit manager, so that means you must have somebody in place who's effective. But maybe you can tell me how many accounts a month or on a quarterly basis you place with them. And what you do after the congratulations, you walk right into the qualification. And if they're willing to begin answering your questions, you can then ask them to compete for a portion of that business. And guys, just so you know, we're not in the competition game, we're in the domination game, which means if they let us compete, we're actually going to go in and dominate whatever that company's doing on their receivables. And once they're able to see that, you will be able to acquire their entire portfolio. And that's what we're shooting for. We don't just want a little piece. We want the whole thing. So sometimes we have to get in the door by taking a piece of it. And this is why when they're telling you about another agency, you want to go in and give them their congratulatory, then find out how many accounts, what's the average balance of those accounts, and when do they turn them over to their agency or agencies. Okay? And this is going to be important for you to know One, it's going to tell you what section of our rate schedule they're going to fall under if they do allow us to compete. And secondly, after they actually engage you on that, you can go in and ask them, would you allow us to compete for a portion of your business? And also, if they're not going to let you directly compete, you can ask them for some of the things that the other agency has been ineffective in collecting. You know, well, let me take a look at the accounts that they have closed as uncollectible and see if any money's been left on the table for you.
That's a good question.
And you can justify that by saying, because when I've done this for other clients, we have found 100% of the time that there was some money left on the table. And we're here to help you find it. And this is something else that can get you in the door. Now, this is a catch-22, because we really don't want just their garbage. And when we take that, we're either going to be a hero or a goat. Some of you have heard me say this before. We'll either be a hero or a goat. And of course, if we're a hero, we're a hero. If we're a goat, then, well, nah, right? So it's always good to get a good cross-section of accounts. If they want to place the old stuff, tell them, look, you know, why don't you throw a couple of new ones in there with it so you can see what we can really do, you know, because that's what this evaluation is about. How effective is Lyons and Associates? How happy am I going to be with them? And getting your foot in the door is a good way to get business. All right. Hank, talk to me, brother. Hank, you're on mute, bro.
Here we go. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
So I finally got a live one today. You know, I just started calling them a few days ago and been getting, a lot of what I've been getting is the same what you were talking about, where they say they don't have any needs, and then, you know, I go through those questions, you know, asking them if they've had any, you know, write-offs, you know, 90 or 120 days, and, you know, I guess if you kind of go through those questions and they still say we're good, we don't have any, everything's current, then, you know, if they're lying, I mean, I keep hearing y'all say a lot of people lie, but if they're lying, there's nothing you can do about that. You can just, what do you recommend doing at that point, other than putting them on a callback in 30, 60, 90 days?
Well, if they're lying to you and they won't come off of the lie, which some of them will, some of them won't.
Right.
The questions, of course, are designed to kind of put them on the spot.
Right.
It's, you know, it's a psychological sales approach. If they're absolutely not going to discuss the accounts with you, get rid of them, because there's too many companies out there. I've got more leads than we can handle in the next 5 years. So we've got plenty of stuff to go through, and a lot of this, sometimes it's like finding a needle in a haystack. What
Right.
you're looking for is that perfect opportunity where you call and you're the person they want to talk to. You've made an impression on them that now they like you, and they're going to listen to your opinion and listen to your presentation. Now, sometimes even when someone's being completely untruthful about their accounts, and you begin asking difficult questions to them and putting them on the spot, some of them will come around. Okay, I have closed so many deals that way, and that's why we do it instead of just chalking them up as a no need, because deals can be closed that way, and it's always another avenue to get them to engage you. Because I've met plenty of people in life that I did not like on my first impression, and became very good friends with that person after I decided to engage them for a little bit. So this can happen in business situations as well. What else are you running? Well, first, did I answer the question appropriately? Is there anything left unturned on there?
No, I guess, I mean, like I said, I've been doing a lot of calling with Rick, and that's been helpful. So it sounds to me, I guess the quick thing is, don't be afraid to just delete somebody. If you got somebody that's a jerk or somebody that just won't talk to you, just delete them and move on to the next one. But if somebody's giving you some information, it sounds like there might be something there, then take the time to create them as a prospect and log the information, and maybe do the follow-up. So it's just, and obviously it's figuring out how to be most efficient with your time. And I've heard you talk about, you don't want to waste your time on somebody that doesn't want to talk, but you don't want to get rid of a potential good prospect. That's kind of a fine. I'll just learn as you go, and you just have to, some of it's just timing. You may catch somebody on a bad day, could catch them on another day. They may want to talk about something, but so that answers my question. One thing I was curious, I'm curious what different people say when they call, kind of your opening kind of pitch. You say, hey, this is Hank Pavin with Lyons & Associates. I was just curious if you're using anybody for your collections, or what. I'm curious what different people say, or what you say, or maybe what Rainer says. To kind of an attention-grabbing statement.
Well, I'm going to base what I say depending on who I'm talking to.
Okay.
If I'm talking to a credit manager, I may tell them something like, I understand you guys are using agencies as an extension of your credit department, and I'd like to discuss some ways that are going to improve that process for you. I go in assumptive, and a lot of them are going to say, go to hell, Mike. But some of them are going to say, oh, okay, tell me about it. And depending on what they're engaging, I think from the seat of my pants on this. Of course, I've been in this game for 22 years, so I have the luxury of being able to do that, which, of course, it comes with time in the business. And most of what you want to do is get them to tell you what their objections are, so you can overcome them. That's how I sell. Matter of fact, if I were to call somebody up right now and they said, awesome, where do I sign? I want to buy it. I'd get nervous. I wouldn't know what to do, man. Because if somebody, and that's not true, I know what to do, but if somebody's engaging me with objections, I'm able to find those hot buttons to push to get them to the table to use our service. Reiner, what do you say as an opening statement when you call
I go right off of our phone presentation. I say, could I speak to whomever handles your delinquent account receivables? I don't, the name that they might have for a contact for the company, I reserve that and I pay attention to that because if I'm not getting any traction, 2 or 3 conversations down the road on follow up, then I'll ask for that person because quite often it's CEO or the CFO, and then I'll ask for them, and they'll have a complete different point of view than the person I've been talking to if I'm not able to get traction. That's what I find that works well for me.
So you first, you use that name first, and if that doesn't work, then
No, I don't use the name. That's what I'm saying.
at all. Huh?
Don't use the name. I don't recommend that because that might be a higher level person within the company, most often a CEO or the assistant vice president or what have you. And if I'm not getting traction after 2 or 3 follow-ups, getting closer to getting placement, I'm a kind of guy that I'm very direct. I've been told many times, you're so direct, that probably costs you sales. Well, it might, but on the other side, people will not forget me. I'll guarantee you. They won't forget my name, and they won't forget Lyons and Associates when I get done with them. But that's just my makeup. I'm very direct, and are we going to do business or are we not going to do business? Because I mean, after 2 or 3 calls, I'm going to go jump over their head and talk with somebody that has the authority to give me the business and has a different point of view. Because quite often, these people are telling us stories and we're buying into them. And the other day, I was doing a webinar with my people. It's kind of like an onion. If you look at an onion in your hand, you got many different layers of an onion. As you get deeper into conversation, you're basically slowly peeling that onion away, getting to the core. And what we're talking about here is the core needs of the business to be able to use our services. So why would I want to let them go when I know they need it and they could benefit from it?
Right. So will you ask for, may I speak with whoever handles your AR? Get that person on the phone. What is your opening statement then?
I at that time I'll say, oh, congratulations. My name's Reiner Davis with Lyons and Associates. Just want to introduce myself. I understand you're in charge there. Is that correct? And because secretary, quite often you'll probably have found out, oh, I don't know who that person is. Just a moment. And they're looking through their company chart, and then at that point, I just congratulate them. I understand that you're in charge of the department there for collections and your accounts receivables. Well, I'm with Lyons and Associates, and we're an account management company that helps companies with their accounts receivables. And what are you doing right now? It's working well for you, and let them talk to me, or what's not working well for you, and find out, because we're in the sorting business, number one. Some will, some won't, so what next? I mean, we have to sort through many businesses and contacts throughout the day. Some are viable contacts, some are not. Not everybody's going to be able to be qualified to use our services, maybe because they have a chip on their shoulder. I don't want to do business with them. I can pick and choose who I want to do business with. And on the other side of the coin, I like the obstacles sometimes of somebody being really aggressive. No, we don't need your services. Oh, really? Wow. Why do you think that way? Can you tell me more? They're giving me a little bit of feedback. Well, I appreciate that. Can you tell me more, please? And it's amazing. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy that challenge.
What's your response? I think a lot of times they'll say, who handles your accounts receivable? They say, what is this regarding? What is your? I know I've heard they say this is about money owed to your company.
That's exactly what I tell them. It's about money owed to your company. Oh, we owe you money? No, you misunderstood me. It's about money owed to your company.
So you like that line? That works for you?
Absolutely. Who doesn't like to have money owed to them?
Yeah.
And just a note on that line, I have never personally used that line. It's about, and I know it's in our pitches and stuff, and our VP of sales, like 2 VP of sales ago, is the one who wrote that particular pitch, and it works. What
What do you say, Mike, when they say, what's this regarding?
Well,
Depends.
it depends. Okay, and I'm gonna give you a basic synopsis. If I'm calling a company and I want to speak to the credit manager or controller, I'm just going to ask to speak to them. The main thing, the screeners or the gatekeepers, they're programmed to screen our calls. So the reason that's in there is because we need to make every attempt to remove any obstacles that would prevent them from transferring our call to the appropriate party. Normally, if I'm calling for a credit manager, and a lot of my time in this in sales, I've asked for somebody higher up than the credit manager, and I was always a little tricky with it, because I'd call and I'd talk to the CEO of the company and have him transfer me to the appropriate party. That was all. It was like a game for me, and I was good at it, so I did it that way. But I think, well, you'll have the greatest success if you say, may I speak to your credit manager, please, or may I speak to your financial controller, please. And if we analyze just that, we put the receptionist or gatekeeper in a position of making a yes or no decision. If you take the time to identify yourself, your company, and your products or service to the gatekeeper, you're going to give them areas for them to ask more questions and decide whether or not our services are necessary. And obviously, we're not in the business of selling to the gatekeeper, and they're not in the position to say yes or no to our objectives. So that's really why that's in there. It's about money owed to your company. I say I've never personally used that, because that was written at a time where I was no longer doing sales. Okay, I do talk to clients sometimes in this business, and I have my own personal clients, and I will do some conference calls when needed if it's a situation where somebody's absolutely ready to place and they need to come on, but it's not my primary thing in this company anymore. What that is, it's an attention-getting statement that it has a little bit of misleading properties, but on the other hand, it's really a true statement, because we are calling regarding money owed to their company. Now, use it or don't use it. I say use what works for you. If it works for you, use it. If you don't feel comfortable with it, we'll figure out something else for you, because obviously, for us to be successful as a company, you have to be successful in sales. Typically, after I'm transferred to a credit manager or controller, the first thing I do is confirm that I'm speaking to the right person. Okay, because sometimes you're going to hear things like, I may be able to help you, or I work in the accounts receivable area, or I guess that's me. if you hear any of those, you might not be talking to the right person. On the other hand, it could be a decision influencer, but most importantly, you want to identify the decision maker and make sure you're talking to somebody that can actually make the decision or influence the decision. And no matter how good your presentation is, if it's made to the incorrect person, it's going to have little or no value. So we want to, of course, sell to people who have the ability to say yes. And we get to that person with an attention-getting statement. One of the things I want to, before we get to that, I want to say something about resistance. A lot of callers will create resistance in the beginning by saying, we sell blank, and I would like to talk to you about blank. Or, I sent you our literature and was calling to see if I received it. If you received it. And the fact of the matter is there, if you're waiting for that potential client to say, great, I got it, I'm ready to buy, where do I sign? If we wait for that, we're all going to be really disappointed. So we want to introduce ourselves and our organization, state an interest stimulating, curiosity building benefit that appeals to the credit manager or controller's desire to gain or avoid loss. Okay? And the way our manual is set up for consultative selling is designed to get them involved in the conversation. And to do this, of course, we've got to listen more than we talk. So if I'm calling and Mr. Jones is the credit manager. Hello, Mr. Jones. My name is Mike Lyons. I'm with the firm Lyons and Associates. We conduct face-to-face collections of delinquent receivables on a national basis. Do you use third-party agents or attorneys to help you collect delinquent receivables? I've created a stimulating statement that may show some benefit and it may appeal to the credit manager's desire. It might not, but it might. Or I could say something like, Lyons and Associates is the most effective commercial collection agency in the country. We specialize in face-to-face commercial collections on a national basis. By using this approach, we collect 3 times the industry average in gross collections and in actual client yields. Do you currently use attorneys or agencies to help you collect delinquent receivables? And they're going to say yes or no. They're going to say yes, and we're happy with our agency. Or they're going to say, no, we do not. We collect everything in-house. And that's your opportunity to engage and qualify. It opens the door. One of the ways to test your opener is to put yourself in the position of the person hearing it. Ask yourself, if I said this, if someone said this to me, would I want to hear more if I were the buyer, if I were in this position? Would I set aside whatever I am doing right now and willingly participate in the call? Okay, and what you're looking for here is, well, something that people are going to want to hear, but you're also looking for something that you're going to be able to say with conviction, something that you believe in and something that you have confidence in. Because if you have an opener that you would listen to yourself, that's automatically going to instill confidence in that opener, and it's going to allow you to use it effectively. And if not, if you don't have those elements, go back to the drawing board, because you've got to make sure that we have something that you can say with conviction and that you truly believe in. Also, on openers, we want to make them as short as possible, as few words as possible. Okay. The thing we're looking to do is appeal to their desire to gain something or appeal to their fear of losing something. Okay, that's how we can get them to spend productive time with us and actually get into a situation where they can benefit from our services. Man, I got long-winded on that. Did I give some answers, man, or am I off base? Or talk to me. Tell me what I need to add. Tell me your thoughts. Give it to me straight.
I would like to ask, do you find that, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right. Do you find that there are times that the receptionist, the person that answers the phone, is the decision maker or is a part of the decision making process?
Seldomly, yes, but you're not going to run into that a lot. Most of the time, I answer my own phone, and I'm the decision maker here. But you're not going to run into that a lot. I answer the phone just because it rings, because I'm an action person. I have somebody that answers the phone. I don't care, man. If it rings, I'm picking it up, because whatever's on the other end of that phone, I can probably handle. But in a lot of cases, it's not going to be. So you'll want to, if that person tells you that they are the decision maker for that, just confirm with them. Okay, so you have the authority to make the decision to place accounts for collection.
Okay.
And you want to, of course, confirm that so they don't tell you, oh, well, no, I got to ask my boss. I've got an account for you, but I got to ask my boss. That is no fun, because you know how long it's going to take them to ask their boss? Ever.
Okay.
So I guess that's my question. So when right now I'm just cold calling. You know, I don't have relationships with people yet. You suggest qualifying asking them if they, in that initial call, that's something I haven't been doing. Asking them if they have the authority to make the decision. Make sure you're talking to the right person.
Right, and sometimes you will want to build a relationship with a decision influencer. As you progress in this, you're going to learn, when it's a waste of your time and when it's not. You'll start to see a historical pattern that can help you to decide whether they're a professional time waster or if they're able to actually influence the decision or make a decision. And yeah, in the beginning, Hank, it's not a whole lot of fun, man.
Right. Right. Yeah, I understand that. I mean, it's just, you know, don't take it personal. Just go through them.
That's it, man. That's it. And once you begin to get your contacts built up, it gets easier. In fact, in this business, once you have a book of clients built, a book of clients can generate more referrals for you than you can handle. And I'll tell you guys a little secret about referrals and how I've worked a book of clients in sales in this industry. Getting referrals from your clients is not just about saying, hey, Bob, you know anybody who could use our services? Getting referrals is about, hey, Bob, I know you have some guys that are on your AR that have, I wonder if I had somebody on the phone. Sorry about that. I just noticed my speaker light was on my phone. I've been on speakerphone. All right. Well, I guess that person will have to watch a video to get in on this information. Anyway, almost lost my train of thought there. So we can look at that as, hey, Bob, I know you have some guys on there that are not quite ready to be placed for collections yet. Have you asked any of these companies that owe you why they can't pay you? And if your client's asking those questions, he's going to know which ones have accounts receivable problems. And this is a way for you to get your client to send you referrals and for you to help him get some of his customers back current so they don't have to be placed in collections. Okay? Now, some of these guys are going to have to go to collections anyway, but some of them are going to be their good customers who place a lot of orders that they really don't want to place in collections. And look at it this way. Would you rather write a whole new client or write one account? So obviously this isn't something you want to use on his accounts that are over 90 or over 120 days old. Those need to come to collections. But as you're building your relationships with clients, you can ask them about stuff that's coming up. And if they have things that are on their aging that are 60 days old, or they're coming up to where they're going to need to be placed in collections in 30 days if they do not pay, we might be able to help these guys get their receivables in, and that is an awesome way to work referrals, because it can generate business for you off of accounts that may have just been an account that got placed for collections. And when they get placed for collections, half the time, now the client's losing them as a customer. They've had to go to collections. You know, they had to have a PI come out and visit them face to face, and a collector hammer them, an attorney hammer them, and now, you know, now they're like, oh man, and the client doesn't know if they want to do business with them again. But in that other situation, when they get sent over to us as a referral, we can get some money collected for this guy so he can pay the client and get back on current terms. This means the client doesn't have to stop selling to him. So it's a win-win situation. Matter of fact, it's a situation where you should ask your client, look, call him up. When they've identified someone like that to you, call him up, talk to him, let him know you know someone who's very effective in collecting receivables, and Hank's going to be giving you a call to help you out with this stuff so you can get back current with us so we don't have to place you in collections. And man, that's a solution. It's a solution to an age-old problem that can create additional clients for you and create additional revenue for you. So it's a kind of a new take on the, hey man, you got a referral for me? Because most of the time you ask, hey man, you got a referral? Some of them are going to say, yeah, I know somebody, or no, I don't know anybody. But in this sense, you're telling them where to find it. Say, hey man, you have a referral for me. Let me tell you where to look for it. That's all good stuff. So let's hear from Mr. Frank Wilkins. What's happening, brother?
Well, I'm just about through the initial training that you sent me, so wondering what's the next step. Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, all right.
You got one of these?
Yep.
I'm being sarcastic here, man. You'll find out soon enough that I've got a crazy sense of humor. But pretty much next step, man, get on the phone, see what you're going to run into. You've got leads in there, you've got prospects.
Well, I haven't seen that. Where is that? To be honest, I haven't seen the presentations or where to access leads and prospects.
Okay.
So
if you sign into your CRM system, they're all there under your leads are there under managed leads, and you'll have a handful of prospects in there too under either managed prospects or prospect follow-up. When you're coming on new, most of your stuff that's in prospects is going to be past due. Right. So click prospect follow-up, you'll then have to click past due prospect follow-up, and call them and put appropriate follow-up dates on them. Mm. The stuff in the leads, it's all set up kind of like an old school calling system, from the days when we called from business directories or phone books. Yeah, I'm kind of old school, so the system's kind of set up like that. But once you go in, on the left-hand side, you're going to have your buttons that say either interested, which turns them into a prospect, which if they're engaging you about business, you want to click interested so you can put notes in. You'll have a delete button, which obviously if you get your rear end handed to you on the call, click delete.
Yeah.
And you'll have an LMCB button, which left message or call back. That puts it on a separate list. But most importantly, you want to give each call a disposition. Okay, on the leads and on the prospects. Of course, on the prospects, your disposition is going to be the note you leave and the follow-up date.
Right.
And on the just regular leads, it's either going to be interested, delete, left message, call back. There's a button that says add contacts as well, which obviously is just to add contacts, to add a different name. For example, if you call in and you say, hey, who was your financial controller or who was your credit manager, and they tell you and say, oh, this is a name, but they're not available, you just stick it in add contacts, get LMCB, and once you run through your leads, go back through your LMCB list.
Right. All right.
And I believe Reiner's going to be the one helping you out with any day-to-day training stuff. So.
All right.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with Francis. I think it'd probably be Rick.
Okay, let Let me see something here. I'll find out real quick.
My memory's slipping.
Let me see something. Yeah, Frank Wilkins is how I have him in the system. That may be where you're not connected.
Yeah, I don't know why they got Francis on this Google thing, but that's I go by Frank.
Okay.
All right, we won't tell anybody.
All right.
All right, I see we got Edward Elkins in the house.
Yes.
Well, what you got, man?
Not a whole lot of new stuff. Still working with the same things over again, but trying to close on some people. I think I need to learn how to be stronger. I don't. That's just my. It's my end. It's the same knowledge, but I need to work on becoming stronger on my close, so I'm not letting them slip out of my hands. You know, giving them way more time to like yesterday. Ryan was telling me I need to become stronger, or just to leave a better impression of myself. Because a lady was just letting me get by. She was saying, "Oh well, I'm busy. I haven't had time to do this or that kind of stuff."
Well, what will help with that? You have to build your confidence in this, and you will do that by asking hard questions. Okay, and to get there, the fact is you're probably going to have to piss some people off to get to that level and ask some really hard questions when they're telling you, "Oh, I don't have time," and they're brushing you off. Ask them why they don't have time to collect their receivables. And that's going to be a hard question to ask. And whoever you ask that question to is not going to like it. And they're going to do one of two things there. They're going to get really pissy with you, or they're going to respect the fact that you asked them that question. And that's one of the things that can get you accustomed to building that. And if you don't want to do it on potential placers, on somebody that's promised you business, do it on cold leads. Get in your cold leads and cold call, and just beat people up with the questions. Beat them up with the questions, man. Beat them up. Ask hard questions. Get in the hang of it, because they're cold calls. You might even get some business out of it, but it's going to help you build your confidence. And I'm not saying go in there and get completely arrogant, but if you get in there and you ask the questions and don't be afraid to ask the hard questions, you will see some of those people engage you, and some of them are going to get mad with you. But what this is going to help you do is thicken your skin, okay? Down here in Louisiana, we've got alligators, man. And their skin's so thick, man, you can make shoes out of it, belts, wallets. But they've got thick skin, and that's what we want, man. We want to be confident. We want to be strong, and we also want to appeal. And of course, we don't want to get the reputation of somebody who just hammers people to death, because that's not what we're looking for. But for you to really build to that point, you've got to take action. It's all about taking action and getting that confidence built. And the reason I'm telling you to go in and do it like this is because what I'm asking you to do is not easy. But once you go in there and do that and you have the hang of it, it's going to make it a whole lot easier for you to talk to prospects, to talk to leads, to talk to clients, and it's going to help you develop kind of a killer instinct, you know, like a lion has. Develop that killer instinct, man, and that's if you look at the salespeople who are most successful, they're very confident, and they have one thing in common. They have that killer instinct, and it's something that can be developed. Just because it's an instinct doesn't mean you can't develop it. Let me ask you a question, Edward. What are you telling people now when they tell you they don't have time?
I've just been saying, okay, do you have time to write in our website address so I can have you go to my website, or I'll say, do you have time to write down or to give me your email address so I can send you some more information or something like that, or I'll just say, well, you know, and if I can't get an email address from them, then I'll just tell them that, you know, I'll call them back at a certain time or whatever, you know.
Well, I'm going to say something to you, and hopefully you don't take it as too harsh, but
Can't hear.
can you hear me now? Edward, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. We're not in the brochure business. We're not in the email traffic business. We're in the collection business. So what you want to do in this situation is acknowledge the fact that your prospect is busy. Okay? I understand you're busy. Most successful people are. I'm busy as well. Your company's profits, however, are important business, and you want to emphasize important. Our services can improve your cash flow and make your job easier. Or you can say, you know, I had a similar situation with another prospect, and as soon as I explained what we could do for that prospect and how we do things differently at Lyons and Associates, he made time to listen to me. Okay, because remember, a company's profits are important business. Is there anything more important in a company than their profits? We certainly do not get into business to lose money. So the company's bottom line is absolutely one of the most important things about that company, and we're here to help them improve that. And if they still insist they don't have time to talk, don't push it. Let the prospect know, look, I have a service that you will reap many benefits from. What time will be more convenient for you? And then at that point, if you want to get his email address and send a brochure, get it and send it. And call him back at that time. But if at that time he blows you off again, you don't want to keep going through the blow off, and you don't want to get into the, hi, did you receive my information? I just wanted to make sure you received my information. Because that's going to give him the opportunity to say, oh, well, no, I didn't get it, or no, I got it, but I didn't have a chance to look at it. Now that you've received my information, let's discuss your accounts. That's how you want to lead into that. And you want to also let the prospect know that it's very simple to get started collecting his accounts. Let him know that all he needs to do is give us the information on the debtor, the name, address, telephone number, balance, date of last purchase, and the principal to be contacted for us to get started looking into it. Now, of course, we do need that rate agreement signed by them, and we will need backup documentation for us to get started looking into it. That's all we need. And getting them to give you this information is a buying signal. Well, it's not just a buying signal. It's pretty much, you know, the deal's done. And so what we want to remember is, you know, when they're busy, acknowledge it. I understand you're busy. Most successful people are. I'm busy too. But your company's profits are important business. And the services of our firm, Lyons and Associates, can improve your cash flow and make your job easier, hence giving you more time. The main thing you're telling me you don't have any of right now. And that's a lead-in, and it's a hard lead-in. It's pushing to a hard close. That's what it is. It's not one of these easy ones. You know, oh, when you're going to be available, I'll call you back. Okay, great. I'll mark it on my calendar so I know not to answer the phone. and guys, I'm not trying to be negative about it. I'm a realist, and one of the things I love doing is studying people, man. I love people.
Mike, one of the things that I think could also be said very effectively is, I understand you're very busy, but I'm here to take that pressure off of you. Just place some business with me today. What's keeping you from placing business with me today? It'll only take a couple minutes.
And to lead further on what Reiner said, I just want to correct one word, the word what, or what's, what apostrophe S, to is there. Instead of what's stopping you, is there anything stopping you? So we don't lead them into a situation of, and yeah, I know, man, I nitpick everything, every word, and some people have gone as far as calling me anal retentive, and, you know, I know, I understand.
I like that correction there, Mike.
But my job is to help you get the most out of what you're doing. That's what my job, well, part of my job. So if I can give any advice, any little things to help you, it's not because I'm nitpicking or picking on you or anything like that. It's because I want to make money, and I want you to make money, and I want us to keep growing, and I want our name to get out there more. That's what I want. That's what's on my goals list. Jason Bentley in the house.
Hey everybody, glad to be here, man, even though I'm catching the tail end. Sounds good already. Oh, by the way, Mike, you're getting a fax. He couldn't scan all that stuff. He said it's too much, it's taking too long, and he wanted a fax number, so it's being faxed to the 504 number.
Okay. All right. Money working. Money working. That's what I'm talking about. Little 15 grander there. I smell money already, Jason. And that's only because we discussed the situation on that one earlier.
I do too. Whenever he's got a lot of information to send, that's got to be good for us. I mean, it's. I think he's got more coming too.
Well, yeah, and you know, there's that, and just a situation we discussed earlier about Title 49 actions and stuff like that, which we'll get into. We'll get into all of that stuff at a later hangout. But what else you got going on, man? How come you only wrote one client today, man?
Well, I haven't made enough phone calls.
I'm messing with you, man.
No, seriously, I've got this one, honestly, this vice president of finance. It's my first really high-level contact that someone passed me to that I'm going to hound. I know they're a big company, and, you know, I'm going to call them every day. I've made my one call today. I didn't leave a very good message, but I'm going to stay on them. And I got about 3 more that showing some signs of life. But again, you know, I've got to get better of keeping them on the phone and trying to close them while I'm on the phone. So that's really, again, what I'm working on.
Awesome. Awesome deal. That's good stuff, man.
That's a good business you got into. It's a good business. There's money out there for them to place with us. That's all I needed to know. Is there money out there for people to place with us? And the more calls I make, the more I find out they're BSing me, and they do have money. I just have got to get better at getting to it.
That's all, man. And what's awesome about this is when you write clients, man, all we've got to do is make them happy, which you collect their money, they're happy. You know, you keep up with them, they're happy. In today's, in this day and age, let's look at most companies out there. Most companies provide a somewhere between weak and mediocre service in anything. No matter what you're buying, service, product, whatever, quality has gone downhill. Okay? If you've ever heard the term, they don't make them like they used to, it's absolutely true. They don't. Some still do, but finding the one who still does is very difficult. And for us to be superstars in this, in the eyes of our clients, all we have to do is do what we're supposed to do. That's it. That's it. We don't have to do any more than we're supposed to do. The flip side of that is we do go the extra mile. We absolutely go the extra mile for our clients. So instead of just being a superstar for doing what we're supposed to do already, we go the extra mile, you know, okay. So we've made it to superstar. What's the next milestone? You know, what's the next one up from superstar, man? That's the one we want now. And that retains clients, man. That is awesome for client retention. I see we got David in the house, man. David O'Hara. You there, bro? All right, I'm not hearing you, man. Frank, did you ever get a... Can you hear yet? I guess that's a no. All right, guys. What else do we have in and questions and anything else. Tricia sent us a chat message. She says she's motivated and ready to get on the phone and make some calls. I'm with that. I'm with that. So if
I have one thing, Mike. I can't get in the chat, but I got a couple messages. I just wanted to say thank you to Trina and to Rayner. I appreciate the support. It feels pretty good. I called. That was my first call today, a follow-up call, and he goes, "Yeah, 15,000 with you." So, and Trisha, it's motivated me too. So I'm going to do the same.
that's what it's about, man. And good job, brother. Keep it coming. Build the pipeline, and well, you know what comes from that, man. So I guess we're going to sign off if nobody has anything else. If anybody has anything they want to get in before I sign off, holla at your boy. All right. All right, guys. Well, I'm signing off, and let's make some money.